Traveling to Consciousness, exploring spiritual journeys to find answers in uncertainty.
What is up, conscious monkeys? Welcome back to another episode of Traveling to Consciousness. As always, I'm your host, Clayton Cuteri. And in today's podcast, our kickoff, our little starter, is the great, the amazing, I'm saying that sarcastically, Lindsay Graham. Now, if you don't know who Lindsay Graham is, he's a senator of South Carolina. He's been a senator for, 80, 90 years, something like that. Probably worth a couple $1 million because, being a politician should be the most lucrative job ever. Also, sarcasm again. And he was asked on Fox News about the devastation that rocked his home state of South Carolina. And I want you to hear his response to this line of questioning. So here, I'm going to play it now.
I've been going all over South Carolina like most people. Hadn't slept much. But look what's going on in Israel. Our friends in Israel surrounded by people that want to kill them, destroy them, a second Holocaust in the making. Oh, but Israel...
How crazy... Sorry, got a little out of control over here. How crazy is that? The people he's supposed to be representing, the people he's supposed to be taking care of, get basically shafted, in my opinion. Sorry, that's not very presidential or political of me, but how in the world are you supposed to be representing the people of South Carolina and your first thought process is let's talk about a foreign country? Like, to me, that just should be the antithesis of being disqualified from being a representative of any state in America. When you put your interests in foreign countries other than ours. To me, that is the craziest thing in the entire world. And I think it just goes to show how the American citizens are second class to every other country. And I'm not there, can't say for sure, but it has to be related to money, has to be related to AIPAC giving millions of dollars to our political. If you don't know, AIPAC is essentially the political action committee on behalf of Israel. I think it's like Americans for Israel or something like that, but it's called AIPAC. And for an elected official to have that response, tell us about how your people in South Carolina are doing. Oh yeah, I've been to South Carolina, but what we really need to be talking about is Israel. Now, I think I've made it clear is that my stance is, of course, we have to end the wars. It's very important that we end all the wars that are going on in the world. That includes Israel and Palestine. Don't get me wrong. That's very important. But to be so out of touch that your initial reaction to talking about your own people is to say, no, wait, but let's focus on these people over here. To me, that is a complete disqualifier. And if anything, if our laws were held up at all, if our politicians were held to the standard of their laws, that has to be a breach of oath of office at some level. Maybe they're words, so you can't actually prosecute it. And it's, it's not actually an actionable oath of office breaker, if you will. But to put the interests of foreign countries above the American citizens makes me insane. If I had hair, I would be pulling it out right now. So to me, it's just mind-blowing. Absolutely mind-blowing that we can still sit here and act as if it's the Republicans' fault, it's the Democrats' fault. No, it's both of them. They're both getting money from the same corporations, from the same foreign intelligence agencies, everything. Not the foreign intelligence agencies, but foreign governments. And yet we want to sit here and just be like, oh, okay, we're just going to vote them in again. Make sure you don't vote for Republicans because they're going to ruin our country. Make sure you don't vote for Democrats. They're going to ruin our country. I'm just so fascinated, and I know the tipping point is coming, okay? Because here's the thing. Humbly, I'm going to say this as humbly as I possibly can. I've been able to, there's a current, okay? And this is where it becomes spiritual. There's a current that's just energy that we cannot experience with our five senses, and it's only with our inner eye that we can see. And that current, that stream is moving towards eradicating this two-party system, getting rid of, maybe not completely get rid of the Republicans and Democrats, but there has to be at least a third party that is going to rival them. And from what I can see, there's some interesting third parties, but none of them are really making any movement. And I have my theories for that. I think part of it is that they don't understand indigo education, which I've been explaining to you guys at a very high level. I think that they maybe don't have the best intentions at heart. I don't know for sure. I'm just hypothesizing. But the huge reason, the main reason I joined the American Congress Party is that it is this spiritual party that sees the current in the way that the world is moving. And I know right now you're probably looking at it and you're thinking probably, Clayton, you're crazy. And that's fine. You can think that way. But I just want you to remember that thought in 15, 20 years, whenever American Congress Party is in control, is in charge of the United States, whenever we are making free, non-chemical food for everybody, whenever everybody is able to get treated in a timely manner. I was at a hospital the other day with one of my close friends, long story. And it took 3 hours just to get a saline bag because the person I was with, she was dehydrated. We just needed a saline bag and it took 3 hours. 2 hours just to see the doctor and then another hour just to get this saline bag. So, there's a big system issue going on here and we can all see it. We all know it. And some reason we still think if we get enough Republicans in, if we get enough Democrats in, then we'll be solved. We'll be saved. I remind you, 2012, when Obama got into office, the Congress was 100% Democrat and we had a Democratic president. Nothing changed. Actually, arguably, things started spiraling a lot worse because that was around the time whenever in 2009 you had the Tea Party movement, which was like the right wing. And then in 2011, you had the Occupy Wall Street. So if the Democrats were truly in, the hearts of the people, of the 99%, that would have been a time to leverage what the Occupy Wall Street movement was all about. But instead they distract us with other things. They change, they turn the media to stop talking about it. And look what happened. It all fell apart. Things have arguably been far worse since 2009 in every way imaginable. I mean, I don't know if I know of a metric that things are better, So to me, it's not a matter of if American Congress Party becomes big. It's a matter of when. And what I'm seeing, what I'm feeling is it's just every single time. And maybe I should be thanking Lindsay Graham. He's showing his true colors. He's literally on national TV saying, hey, here's the middle finger, South Carolina. I care more about Israel. What are you going to do about it? Because they think that ego, they think that they're in control. They think that they're the ones who have all the power. And at some level they do. But we as the American people have to realize that we have the power. Our votes are what matters. Our hearts are what matters. Our minds, our bodies. And they don't care about it. Heck, they allow pharmaceutical companies to sell drugs that injure people. And then pharmaceutical companies put that into their profit margins. Like there's a section of their profits that they know that they're gonna be liable for and get sued for. So they build that into their profit margins. If you didn't know that, that's a crazy rabbit hole as well. And the fact that we are making money off of the human body, off of nature, is insane. It reminds me of the Pocahontas song, Colors of the Wind. I don't know if you've heard it. I'm sure you've heard it. But if you go back and re-listen to it, there's a line where she's like, just go essentially frolic through nature and don't think about what it's worth. Detach yourself from money. Money is important, but in this case, we have to detach ourselves from money. We have to break this cycle of poison the food, make money on poisoned food, and then make money on treating, not curing, treating the people who get sick from that poisoned food. And then don't even get me started on the education system, the indigo education system. I mean, look, if you go through my podcast and look and type in indigo education, you're going to get knowledge that, first of all, I don't know if you'll even agree with it. Maybe you'll think it's crazy. But if you apply that knowledge, that's where it gets crazy, is if you apply this knowledge to your life, you will notice that things become more calm, more peaceful, more serene. and I'll make more of them as they come out. I can't release all of it at once because it takes time for the body and the mind to digest it all. But for us to sit back and allow these politicians to metaphorically do horrible stuff to us, it's time. I mean, it's time. It's time for us to stand up, vote accordingly to how we truly desire. And I think that another huge block is this idea that, well, if I don't vote Democrat or Republican, then I'm wasting my vote. I don't know if the CIA created that psyop, but it's a genius one. But if you break it down and realize that neither the Democrats nor the Republicans actually care about making the world, forget about the world, making America, making the lives of their citizens better, then you got to look at the research. You got to dive in. Because again, and I forgot to add this earlier, but the Republicans in 2016, Trump was in office. They had Congress. Nothing got passed. We had a whole charade about Russia, and it turned out to be completely fake, and we wasted 4 years of quote unquote not making progress. But the reality is that was a part of the plan. This isn't anything new. They don't care. There's no trouble to them. They'll make money. They'll be fine. They're going to live in their towers, their castles, their mansions. And all the poor people will just give them their money because they have the slaver education. They don't have the indigo education that they have. And because of this, they think that they're better than everyone else. You can hear it in their voice. Oh my gosh, the arrogance. Oh yeah, South Carolina, it's so bad. But Israel, we can't forget about Israel, even though our own people just got lambasted with a natural disaster. Gosh. It's stuff like this that truly makes me wonder how, I think it's good. I think there's a positive thing in this, and that's that they show their true colors. They tell you that they literally are telling you subconsciously, or consciously, it depends on where you're at. But they're literally telling you that they do not care about you. They do not care about the American people. They only care about their pockets and who gives them money. Israel, Lebanon, some cases even Iran. I guess we give Iran money. We give Afghanistan money. We give all of these countries so much more money than they give to us because they just suck it out of us. They're not going to do anything. We have to tax them. We're going to raise taxes on all of them. And then reality is they only raise taxes on the middle class. They siphon it all out of the middle class, give it to the poor in foreign countries. And the rich stay up there and they just laugh it off because they have the knowledge that we need to give to everybody, the indigo education knowledge. So I really hope that we can get to a place where we start realizing and seeing through all of this BS. And quite frankly, as much as it kind of enrages me, as you can probably hear in my voice, I see it as a good thing. Clayton, come on. How can you see it as a good thing that they care about the other countries? That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is I find it a good thing that they're actually sometimes, sort of part of the times, honest about what they're doing, telling you that they don't care about you. They're not going to come out and say it directly. Who would ever say that? That'd be political suicide. No, instead they'll just kind of like leak it out there. So you have to be paying attention whenever these politicians speak, because it's all in the undertone of what they're trying to get across, what they're trying to say. It's absolutely disgusting. Don't get me wrong. But at least they're telling you, hey, we don't care. We don't care about you. And I think that should light a fire under everybody. I hope it does. If you're a tax-paying citizen, if you're paying money, that should light an absolute fire underneath you to be like, dude, what the heck? And the solution truly is Vote American Congress Party. I know maybe not this election, it's going to be crazy, but we have to start getting the energy to move in that way. We have to get the energy to flow in that direction. Another thing you can do is just share this podcast. Honestly, I mean, that's huge in itself. I've got a lot of feedback of people sharing my podcast recently, and I think that's absolutely tremendous. Absolutely nothing brings me more joy than that. Maybe world peace will bring me more joy than that. But as of right now, that brings me so much joy to hear, hey, I love this podcast. I had to share with 5 people. To me, I'm just ecstatic. I'm over the moon with that. So pay attention. Pay attention. Because these events will keep popping up that will keep making you think, wow, did they even really care about me? Pay attention. They'll tell you. They'll tell you who they are. They'll convince you that it's your fault or it's someone else's fault. It's never their fault. Whenever radical leadership, a good leader takes 100% of the responsibility. A bill doesn't get past Congress that you said you wanted as president. That's your responsibility. Stop shifting the blame. It all falls squarely on your shoulders. If you don't get it across, should have been a better communicator. Should have studied more. Should have figured out what people desired more. Should have been a better listener. And I never hear any politician speaking like that. I could have been better at X. Never. It's never their fault. It's someone else's fault. Here's what I'm going to do. If it doesn't happen, it's someone else's fault. All right. Well, I got to get out of here. You guys are absolutely amazing people. Never change. Keep sharing this podcast because that's how this is going to happen. This is how we're going to reclaim our country. It's up to you guys. I can only do so much. So with that being said, if you share this, I'm eternally grateful for you. If you don't share this, then I will see you in the 6th dimension.